व्यूअर्स, कैसे हैं आप सब लोग? आई होप यू आर प्रिपेयरिंग फॉर योर एग्जाम्स नाइसली एंड वाइजली. So, a very warm welcome to my channel News Insights. I am Prachi Priyadarshini and today I will be analyzing news of 21st January 2021. So, let's begin now. The first slide says that Prime Minister Modi wishes people of Meghalaya, Manipur and Tripura on their statehood day. Now, Prime Minister Modi has wished people of Meghalaya, Manipur and Tripura in a tweet on their statehood day. Now, what is this statehood day? Under the Northeastern Areas Reorganization Act 1971, Tripura, Manipur and Meghalaya attained statehood on January 21, 1972. Now, a little facts about Northeast region. Northeast region NER is the easternmost region of India, representing both a geographic and political administrative division of the country. It comprises of 8 states: Arunachal Pradesh, Assam, Manipur, Meghalaya, Mizoram, Nagaland, Sikkim and Tripura. And this Arunachal Pradesh is the largest state in the Northeast region if you compare according to the area. Now, little facts about this Northeast Areas Reorganization Act. Yes. Now, what happened with this Reorganization Act? The Northeastern Areas Reorganization Act 1971 was a major reform of the boundaries of India's Northeast region into the states and union territories. तो इस act ने basically नॉर्थ ईस्ट का जो रीजन था उसको स्टेट्स और यूनियन टेरिटरीज में डिवाइड करा. और क्या क्या कौन से स्टेट्स स्टैब्लिश हुए? द स्टेट्स दैट वर स्टैब्लिश्ड वर मणिपुर, त्रिपुरा, जो कि पहले यूनियन टेरिटरीज थे. ऑल्सो द स्टेट ऑफ मेघालय अलग से बना जो कि असम का ऑटोनोमस पार्ट था. So now after this act, what was the result? Reduction of the area of the Assam, obviously because Meghalaya उसमें से cut हो गया था, तो reduction of the area of the Assam due to the above changes. Allocation of Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha seats for the newly created territories and allocation of seats to the legislative assemblies also. Creation of separate high courts for Meghalaya, Manipur and Tripura. Alright, so these are little facts about any reorganization act. So I hope it's clear now. You can see the map also in the top right hand corner. So nothing much to explain. So moving on to the next news. This news is related to your environment also. This is that India counters China on red pandas. DNA finds Himalayan and Chinese subspecies exist in India. Now, what was in this news that China has earlier claimed that in India there are only Himalayan red panda and Chinese red panda do not exist in India. But our scientists took out the DNA from the fecal, that is the solid waste passed out of the body of animal or human. They collected the samples from say over a span of 3 years, and then they finally concluded, contradicting the Chinese claim that we do not have Chinese red panda. The research proved that Indian Himalayan region is native place for both the type of pandas, that is Himalayan red panda also and the Chinese red panda also. And red panda, you can see in the last point, is a mammal species native to the eastern Himalayas and southwestern China, and it is also endangered species, okay, according to the International Union for Conservation of Nature. So, contrary to the previously held belief that only one species of red panda is found in India, Indian scientists have established that India is home to both the Himalayan red panda and the Chinese red panda. They have also countered a Chinese study published in February 2020, which claimed that the CRP is not present in India. CRP is Chinese red panda. These studies were based on the DNA from fecal, that is already I told you, the solid waste passed out of the body of animal or human. Samples collected over a span of 3 years and have said that the 2 phylogenetic subspecies also exist here. The Indian scientists have also contradicted China's claim, saying it is the Siang River in Arunachal Pradesh that is the potential boundary that divides the 2 subspecies after examining the DNA samples from the Indian Himalayan region. As I told you, red panda is a endangered species now. Okay, I hope it is clear. So the next slide is about this dragon fruit. So what is the news about the dragon fruit? That Gujarat has given a new name to the dragon fruit, and the name is Kamalam. Now this Kamalam is also the name of BJP headquarters in Gujarat state. Okay, so let's begin the news. The news says, since I told you, I'm repeating every day that whenever there is a fruit or something, you should know the basics also. Like in my first class, I think I told you about that केसर also, saffron of Kashmir, and that gushi mushroom जिसको GI tag के लिए उन्होंने application file किया है. Okay, so since we are talking about dragon fruit, तो हमें मालूम होना चाहिए इसका soil, इसका the soil and the countries of origin, कैसे ये cultivate होता है. So I have made the points in this slide and I have also highlighted them for you. What is dragon fruit? It is a cactus variety. It is widely cultivated in Southeast Asia, United States, Australia, India, Caribbean islands and Mesoamerica. The total lifespan of a dragon fruit plant is 15 to 20 years. They grow in regions where summer temperatures rise above 40 degrees Celsius. Basically, they are summer-loving plants, summer-loving fruits they are, and they do not grow, I think, in very cold or basically cold climate, because it says that only above 40 degrees Celsius. And it's written also dragon fruits grow only during summers. Dragon flowers bloom only at night. It occurs only once in a year. They rely on nocturnal pollinators such as moth and bats for fertilization. Now, what is nocturnal pollinators? A little bit of biology here. As you must have read in your class 9th or 10th bio, what is pollination? Pollination क्या होता है? It is the transfer of pollen from a male part of a plant to a female part of a plant by animal or wind, which enables fertilization. अभी कैसे animals से या insect से कैसे pollination होता है? When butterflies, moths, you can say bees, they sit on the flowers for sucking nectar. What they do is, accidentally some of these pollen get stuck in their you can say their legs and their mouths and their whiskers and all, and when they go to another plant they drop it there. So that's how the plant helps in the fertilization. So, and what is pollen? It is a very fine powder produced by trees, flowers, grasses and weeds to fertilize other plants of the same species. So pollinators are basically insects होते हैं या wind होता है, and there are wind तो जब भी चलेगा तभी चलेगा, but talking about the pollinators that are like insects, तो दो तरह के pollinators होते हैं. They are nocturnal and diurnal. Nocturnal, as the name suggests, they are night में जो लोग जो insects activated रहते हैं, जैसे moths हो गए, bats हो गए, beetles हो गए. And diurnal, like daytime में you have seen honeybees, butterflies. Okay, so they are all pollinators. Okay, so dragon fruit in India imports 95% of its dragon fruit from Malaysia, Thailand, Vietnam and Sri Lanka. The farmers in the state of Gujarat, Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka have taken up dragon fruit cultivation only in the recent years. And which is the largest producer and exporter of dragon fruit? It is Vietnam. And who introduced this fruit? The fruit was brought here by the French. So these are again all the facts. I hope the slide is clear to you. Okay, so moving on to this next news. That is PM Swanidhi bank loans to street vendors turning into NPAs. So now what is this entire Swanidhi program? Swanidhi Yojana, as you can see, was launched in June 2020 for the street vendors. Why? Because due to the pandemic, when there was a total lockdown, basically the vendors were left without any means of income. बहुत से लोग दूसरे शहर में थे, they could not even get money for their food and all. So how will they manage their living? How will they survive? So for that, PM launched this Pradhan Mantri Swanidhi Yojana. The full form says that Street Vendors Atmanirbhar Nidhi. Under this scheme, there was that 10,000 का लोन दिया जाएगा. That will be collateral free. मतलब उसके against में आपको कुछ गिरवी नहीं रखना है. Okay? कोई आपको house या jewelry या कुछ भी आप जमीन, piece of land, कुछ भी आपको गिरवी नहीं रखना है. और उसके rates जो थे वो भी उन्होंने concessional रखे. But अभी क्या हुआ? Since they are उनका जो मीन्स ऑफ इनकम है दैट इज नॉट डेफिनेट, वो कुछ डेफिनेट इनकम नहीं होता, एंड मोस्ट ऑफ देम माइग्रेटेड टू देयर ओन नेटिव प्लेसेस। तो अभी क्या हुआ कि जो बैंक में जो लोन दिया था इट स्टार्टेड कन्वर्टिंग इनटू नॉन परफॉर्मिंग असेट, मतलब उससे रिकवरी नहीं हो पा रही थी बैंक को। तो ये जो केस है ये कहां पर आया हुआ है, इट हैज स्प्रंग अप इन बुरहानपुर इन मध्य प्रदेश, वेयर स्टेट बैंक ऑफ इंडिया हैज रिटन टू द चीफ मैनेजर ऑफ द म्युनिसिपल कमिश्नर। व्हाई म्युनिसिपल कमिश्नर? बिकॉज जो स्कीम चली थी उसको म्युनिसिपैलिटीज को भी उसका यू कैन से रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी दी गई थी टू डिसबर्स द लोन। ऑल राइट, जब गवर्नमेंट कोई स्कीम चलाती है तो इट हैज टू गो थ्रू वेरियस लेयर्स ऑफ ना, लाइक फॉर स्टेट्स, फॉर डिफरेंट डिस्ट्रिक्ट्स, उसके बाद फिर आती है वो और लोअर लेवल एरिया में, देन पंचायत लेवल एरिया में, फॉर विलेजेस ऑल्सो। सो सिमिलरली म्युनिसिपैलिटीज वर गिवन द रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी ऑफ डिसबर्समेंट ऑफ दीज लोन। तो अभी बैंक में क्या हुआ है, लॉन्च्ड इन द कॉन्सेप्ट, okay, launched in 2020, PM Swanidhi scheme is a micro credit facility that provides street vendors a collateral free loan of rupees 10,000 at concessional rates of an estimated 7.25%. Now banks are writing back to report that many of these collateral free loans are turning into non-performing assets. Some banks are asking local authorities who pushed for these loans to help रिकवर देम। ना बैंक्स ने तो दे दिया, तो अब उनके पास जब कोई अर्निंग वापस नहीं हो रही है, दे आर नॉट एबल टू रिकवर देम, सो ऑब्वियसली दे विल गो टू दोज अथॉरिटीज, दे विल आस्क देम फॉर हेल्प। नाउ एज यू कैन सी व्हाट इज द रेड फ्लैग अकाउंट। A red flagged account is being introduced in the current framework as an important step in fraud risk control. A RFA is one where a suspicion of fraudulent activity is thrown up by the presence of one or more early warning signals. These signals in a loan account should immediately put the bank on alert regarding a weakness or wrongdoing which may ultimately turn out to be fraudulent. So basically when there is a fraudulent bank account, the bank is noticing there are some suspicious activities, या उसपे कुछ deposit नहीं हो रहा बहुत टाइम तक, या उसमें कोई withdrawal नहीं हो रहा है, और if it is a loan account तो उसमें installments नहीं आ रही हैं, so basically they set an alert that is red, they mark it as a red flagged account. That means some action has to be taken. You cannot just leave that account. Okay, so now I have also made a slide for what are non-performing assets. So non-performing assets are a loan or an advance that are in default or in arrears. A loan is in arrears when principal or interest payments are late or missed as a debtor is unable to meet his obligations. Now how do banks earn? इसीलिए इतने सारे कॉल्स आते हैं, आप प्लीज लोन लीजिए, they pursue you, they reach to you for taking loans, they say that हम 0.25% कम दे देंगे, आप हमारे यहाँ से लीजिए, other one is saying we'll give one installment from our side, please take loan from us. तो why are they so much behind us कि आप लोन लीजिए? Because that is their earning, हम वो पैसा तो वापस करते ही हैं, साथ में we pay an interest also, so that interest is their earning. So अब अगर बट इंटरेस्ट भी नहीं होगा और प्रिंसिपल भी नहीं पे कर पाएगा कोई भी XYZ पर्सन, तो ये तो बैंक का लॉस है. सो NPS plays financial burden on the lender, that is the bank, and jeopardize the financial health of the banks. Suppose एक lender ने नहीं दिया, दो lender ने नहीं दिया, 5 and 10 are not paying now, so the bank will be in a financial trouble. Now how will it run its other functions also? They are basically doing it for earning. Okay, so loans NPAs are further classified as substandard asset, doubtful asset and loss asset. So basically ये जो divisions हैं ये उनके period के हिसाब से किए गए हैं. Like अगर 12 months तक नहीं आया, less than or up to 12 months, then they are substandard. Remained in substandard category for a period of 12 months, that is 12 months पहले, उसके बाद 12 months, then it is doubtful. And अगर continue रहता है ये trend, then it is total loss assets. मतलब वो फिर दे एक्सेप्टेड कि अब उससे कुछ भी रिकवरी नहीं होनी है. सो सबस्टैंडर्ड असेट आर पीरियड लेस देन और इक्वल टू 12 मंथ्स, डाउटफुल असेट रिमेन इन द सबस्टैंडर्ड कैटेगरी फॉर अ पीरियड ऑफ 12 मंथ्स, एंड लॉस असेट्स it is considered uncollectible and of such little value that its continuance as a bankable asset is not warranted. Okay, so that was all for today. I hope you liked the session, and please comment me like what you want, what time should I upload, and is this bilingual is okay for you or not, what are your exams, on कौन सी ऐसी न्यूज़ है जिसके लिए आप चाहते हैं कि मैं और डिटेल में बताऊं. I hope today's lesson you enjoyed and it will certainly help you in your exams. So please like, share and subscribe, and thank you so much for watching. Take care.